Hello everyone, I am Siddharthan and welcome to the third project video in the Generative AI project series on my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to build a production grade AI powered meeting summarizer, an exciting end-to-end application that mimics how such systems are built in real world organizations. Here's the game plan. We will start with a recorded meeting video and then convert this video into an audio. Then we will pass this audio to OpenAI's open source Whisper model for audio to text transcription. Once we have this transcribed text, we will use large language models, the LLMs, to summarize the meeting, extract key points, identify action items, and much more. But this project isn't just about running a few models. We are aiming for something bigger. We are going to build a complete backend using FastAPI, making it modular and production ready. For the front end, we will use Streamlit to prototype the user interface quickly. Even though organizations usually use like more complex UI stacks, Streamlit just helps us to mainly focus on the actual functionalities and just like have a prototype quickly. So we will be like using that. But the idea is just build a pluggable backend that we can use for other front end frameworks as well. We will also containerize this entire app with Docker, bringing it one step closer to how you would deploy such systems in a real world setting. And as we go forward in the series, I'll keep introducing more advanced concepts step by step. So even if you are new to some of this, don't worry, we will build up gradually with each project. So let's get started with building this end-to-end AI meeting summary system right from raw video input to actionable meeting insights. So let's get started. And again, it wouldn't be feasible to make this as like one single video, as we probably like have like so much to build in this case. So I'll make this particular project in a part by part manner. Okay, so in this first part, let's first try to understand how you can take a video and you can convert it into an audio and then pass it to the transcription model and get your data back, and just like writing some functions around it. And later we can build the fast API backend, front end, and other stuff. Okay, so this is going to be the hands-on part of the video. So here I've opened my Jupyter notebook again. So this is mainly like the exploratory phase of this use case, where we are just going to try to understand how we can process this data. So once we are clear with this, so we will write these functions and then move it to fast API in actual development process. Like we would work later on PyCharm, but for initial purposes, like we can just use Jupyter notebook. So here I'm going to first install two libraries. So I'm going to say pip install MoviePy and Groq. So let's run this. So MoviePy is used to convert this video that we have into an audio. And there are like several libraries in Python that can do this. It's not like you have to use only this. You can also explore some other libraries if they are like working well. So that's also doable. And then let me just put it on queue so that it can hide this output that we are seeing. So this kind of video, I got it online. It's kind of like a mock meeting video, but you can just like go to YouTube and or some other platform and download some mock videos, or like a Teams or Zoom video. Some should be in YouTube as well, so you can just like try it with that. I cannot play this video right now because of copyright reasons, but this is basically like a 20-minute video, an MP4 format video. So that's what I'm working on. I'll try to share this video as well along with the code, but let's see how that can go. Okay, so the first part that we are going to do, as I said, is just convert this video into audio, and then we can use OpenAI's Whisper model using Groq. So you don't have to run it on local. You still can run it on your local as it's an open source model, but I'll be using Groq so that it can kind of like run quickly. So let's see. So first I'm going to say from moviepi.video.io.video file clip input video file clip, the same name basically. Also feel free to check for other libraries as well. It's not like you have to only like use this one. So next is defining the path. So path of like the video that we have, and also like where the audio file should be saved. So we need to give both these things. So I'll say video path is equal to, I'll copy the name of this. So Let me go to rename and copy this entire video name. Okay. And then for audio, I can say audio underscore path is equal to output audio dot mp3. So we are going to take a mp4 video and we are going to convert it into a mp3 audio, which will later kind of process to transcribe it to text. Next one is we are going to load this video and convert it. So I'll say load and convert. So for this, I'll say clip is equal to video file clip that we have imported. These are like simple code, so it's nothing complex here at all. Just like reading this video file and just doing a conversion on it. Yeah, and then I can say clip dot audio dot write underscore audio file path. So in this write audio file, I'm going to give the audio path that we have defined. So we don't have this audio file yet, but we have mentioned that this is what's the path of this file. So if you want this to be saved in a different directory instead of the home working directory, you can just like give that entire path in these places. So that's the next step. This is pretty much it. So here I can just say print audio extracted, and just like you can give the path as well. So just to say that this is where we have saved it. So audio extracted, I can say audio underscore path. Let's run this. This kind of like happens pretty quickly, and also depends on the size of the video that we have. So it says MoviePy writing audio in audio output audio.mp3, and then we have MoviePy done, and then we could see the audio over here. You can also like download this from here. You can play it and see as well. As I said, I cannot play it due to the copyright issues and all that, but yeah, that's the process. So now we have the audio. Next part is converting this audio that we have into transcription, basically like the text, so that we can pass this to the LLM, which can summarize this, derive insights, action items, and so on. So that will be the other steps. So let's see. So as I said, I'll be using Groq for this. So in order to use Groq, you can save this API key in the environment variables. So let's say import OS and import JSON, and from Groq import Groq with uppercase G. Okay, so these are the three imports that we need. So we have already installed MoviePy and Groq, right? So the next step is I'm going to save my API key over here. So I'll say os.environ, and within this I have to give the name of the Groq API key, which is Groq underscore API underscore key. So this is the name of the variable, and this variable is equal to, so we need to get it from Groq. So it's pretty simple. Just go to Google, search for Groq or Groq API keys. So in this you can just sign up to Google and you can create your API key. So I'll create one and I'll say this as meeting transcription, and this is going to give my key. So I'll copy this and paste it here. Okay, so that Groq knows that this is my account and these are the usage and so on. So we need it for that. Next is we need to initialize the Groq client. So I'll say initialize the Groq client. So here Groq is equal to Groq, and within this I'm going to pass, yeah, you can pass the API key, but yeah, we are saving it in the environment variable, so we can just like leave it as is. And then we need to give the audio's like file path over here. So this is for saving this audio. This is to just like give the Groq so that it can read the file and pass it to the model, the Whisper transcription model, and get back the text from it. So we have that. So I'll say file name is equal to the same output audio.mp3. Again, if you are working with different directories, make sure that you are giving the entire path in this file name variable. So next is you open the audio file and then pass it to the Groq model. So I'll say open the audio file. So these are like pretty standard code that we have in Groq documentation, so it's not like complex at all. So I'll say with open. So this is how you would kind of like open a file right in Python. So I have to give the file path. So I'll say file name, and then we are going to read it. So I'll open this in read mode, as file. So this file will be kind of like read in this file variable, and here I can say transcription is equal to client is nothing but the Groq client. So this audio is going to be kind of like passed to the Groq API. So client dot audio dot transcriptions dot create, and first parameter is file. So say file is equal to file. So this is the parameter and this is the actual value that we are passing. And then I can say model. So model is equal to, so you can again search for Whisper in Groq. So here we have speech to text Groq docs, right? So there are like these two versions of this Whisper model that we can use. Whisper large v3, again it's like good performing model, and this is like a faster model, Whisper large v3 turbo. So this has like a lesser cost, so we can go with this. Again, in some cases where you need like accurate transcriptions and all that, you can go with the other one. So here I'm going to use the Whisper large v3 turbo, which is kind of like a cheaper model. So I'll paste it over here. So Whisper large v3 turbo. And then there are like other additional parameters that you can add, like let's say the prompts, response format, and so on. I'll just include like the required ones. So here one is like response format, where you can just say that I want this response to be, in kind of like a verbose JSON. It's like saying that I want this in the JSON format. And then you can say something like timestamp granularities, and this is like an interesting one. We are not going to use it, but let's just like use this and let's see like how it's coming up. So it would say like that it would give basically the timestamp of like the individual words that we have. So it's like an interesting thing to have in your output, but you can also skip this. So that's also like a valid option, and you can also additionally pass like the language thing. So this is like completely optional. So I can say language is equal to en for English, and then temperature of the model, just like we would kind of pass to the LLMs. So here we have temperature. Okay, so these are the ones that we have. So what would happen here is this audio file is opened in this with block, and the Groq client is called, and this audio which is in this file is then passed to this Whisper large v3 turbo, the Groq API which has this particular model, and then it tries to get the transcription, and this transcription is saved over here. Okay, so this is how this works. And then we can just like print this transcription dot text. So this transcription dot text has like the final transcription that we have. So let's run this and see if it works. Says name error, client is not found. Oh, sorry. So here I should say it as client. So let's wait for this transcription to complete. So these are like the two initial steps that we have. One is video to audio conversion, and the other one is like speech to text, audio to text conversion, which again can be used with LLM and the models for like more intelligent like data extraction kind of task and text analysis tasks and so on. So that's the idea. Let's see. Again, this process is going to take time depending upon the length of the audio that you have. So if it's smaller, it's going to be pretty quick. You can like download some other videos and try as well. Yeah, so that's another thing. And the other interesting point about this is like this can be used for other purposes as well, like a video summarization, or like a voice-based chatbot where the user can click on the mic, speak, and this audio is converted into text, and then you can pass it to LLM. So you can like do a lot of different stuff with this transcription and LLM model combination. So that's one thing to remember. Yeah. So this is taking quite some time. This is kind of unusual. So let's wait for that. I can just pause the video until that. Okay, so I got the transcription output. So it says like good day, is everybody already in the meeting and so on. So we got like the complete transcription of this meeting video which we have started with, and then converted to audio, and then finally we got the transcription output, the text format, right? So this transcription.text would give you this entire transcription thing. But again, if you want like more metadata kind of information, timestamp and all those details, you can just run this particular script. So json.dumps transcription indent default is equal to string. So yeah, let's run this. So we have already imported JSON here, so we can just like go ahead and run this. So this JSON is converted into a string, and then we kind of like are seeing like the timestamp or like all the individual words. I mean, not essential for our particular case, but in some use cases that can be useful. So first you have the transcription text. So this is what we are accessing using this transcription.txt first. And then like if you just like scroll below, right, you have like the end of each word, the timestamp and everything. So for now, I'll just like comment this so that it's not occupying the screen space. Okay, so this is how you can just like start with the initial part of this use case. The next part that we are going to work on again in this video is like just putting all these things in functions, because we are going to provide these services as APIs so that the front end or the Streamlit can easily access this. It's mainly to separate the concerns, like the backend will be separate and the front end will be separate. You can just have this as a single Streamlit application and have functions that the Streamlit app would call, but that's not ideal because the UI is going to lag a bit, so it's not recommended. And again, if you want to move to a different UI, right, in an organization there would be a separate team that would work on front end. So you usually in the ML side, like in some cases there are also separate backend teams, or in some cases in slightly smaller organizations, people who are doing ML would do part of this backend work. They would deploy this on APIs and so on. So in that case, like if you are working completely on Streamlit, then you have to convert everything into API and so on. So that's not like ideal. So what we are going to do is build these two things separately, front end and back end, and then from there we can just like connect those two things and work around it. So that's the approach that we'll be taking. And again, as I said, to deploy this on API, we have to put these on functions. So I've already written those functions. Basically what we have done before. So I've just like added the doc strings, arguments that you have to pass, and just like a return statement. So I can just like run this one. I'll explain you in a bit, but before that we can just like try these functions once, as we know that the transcription is going to take some time. So yeah. Okay, so here we are getting this from environment variable, but for now we can just like get it here itself. So I'll just like copy this API key over here. It's pretty similar. So instead of reading it, like instead of saving it in the environment variable, we are just going to pass it directly to this client. I'll explain that to you in the next video on why we are exactly doing this like approach. Instead of reading it from the environment variable, we would directly pass this. I'll maybe explain that in the next video, but before that, let's just like run these two things. One is my function for like audio conversion, right? So here I can just say audio path, or I'll call this as saved audio path, is equal to extract audio, the function that we have above, which takes in the video path as the input, right? So video path is input and where the audio should be saved. So those are the two things that we have. So basically these two things. Or I can just like copy these two here, and just to rename this, I'll call this like audio output instead of output audio. I'll call this as audio output .mp3. Video is the same, right? So we can just add that. So here let's pass this video path, and the next one is going to be my audio path where it should be saved. So let's run this. And for this transcribe audio, right, so similarly we can say transcription underscore text. So this is where it will be returned and saved, the transcription.txt. So here I'll call this transcribe audio function, and I have to pass the input argument is audio path, right, which is this audio path that we have over here. Let's paste it over here, and also print the transcription text. Okay, I have to run this, right? So this is what we have. So it's basically the same code that we had. So we have just like created a function on top of it. So here we have an extract audio, which takes in the video path as input as well as the audio path. So this video path is passed to this video file clip, which kind of then converts it into an audio and write it as a file. And then we have this second function which takes in that converted audio path. You can see the audio output has been created. So this takes in, so this transcribes the given audio file using Groq's Whisper API. So instead of saving that on the environment variables, we are passing the key value directly over here, because it's easier to, or mainly like a standard approach to use what we call as a pydantic base settings to load the environment variables there, and you can just like use it in different places of the code. So that we will see when we put all these things into API. So we will get there. And then we have this part, the same part of using this client to just like pass that audio and get the transcription with this particular whisper model and so on. So these are like other parameters and the arguments that we have. So once it's done, it would say transcription complete, and it would return this transcribed text which we are printing as a good day, as everyone already in the meeting, and so on. So again, this is only the initial part of this video, so please try until this point. So go to Groq and create your own Groq API key. You can replace it over here, and you can just like practice this particular code. So in the next video, what we will do is let's set up the framework for our API using these functions, and I kind of like explain you how you can build this system in a good way, where we would kind of create these as services and expose these services in the form of API, and we will test it, and later we will work on having a Streamlit front end and passing this to the LLM, and finally deploying it using Docker and so on. So we will like get to that. Okay, so that is all for this part of the video. I'll see you in the next part. Thanks for watching.